President, Salmadin, who is Manager of African Affairs and SDGs Unit at Maaat Peace, Development and Human Rights in Egypt. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Bashir. Thank you for the panelists and the audience. And also I thank the African Institute for hosting and inviting me for this panel discussion. First of all, I wanted to spread my happiness that I see the gentlemen here. They are interested and keen on know more about the women's rights in Africa. So thanks for your interest and keen on. I also want to thank from my bottom of heart the United Republic of Tanzania for their kind hospitality from the day one. As Madam Rashid said, I am Basant Assom. I'm the manager of the Sustainable Development and African Affairs Unit in Maaat for Peace Association, which is an Egyptian organization working in peace, development, and the human rights in 44 countries. And by the way, Maaat is the name of women, so we are mainly work on women. Actually, we work closely with the women and girls. We find that Africans, maybe the African women and girls, face a lot of challenges, security, political, social, and all this stuff. But in particular, the climate change challenges, it's underrated. There is no one speaking in public about the climate change issues and how the climate change. In my belief that the climate change does not only affect women itself, it's affecting the whole family. For example, if I'm a woman, I'm pregnant, I need water to my child and myself, and I have a problem with the climate change, I think that I will not severe this shortage of water. So we all know that for years that African women have or face many challenges resulting from the climate crisis. One of the severe crises of the African women affected by climate change is gender-based violence. There is a question come up in your mind. What is the relation between climate change and gender-based violence? But it's real and it exists, especially in sub-Saharan African countries, and we are sorry to have many examples and many statistics show how the climate change could affect women. Also, this climate change will affect women from participating in clearly in political, economic, and social affairs. And I will show you statistics. I will go through statistics very quick one to show how the climate change could affect all the political, social, economic manners that will affect women. For example, women in sub-Saharan Africa, and due to the climate change, women spend more than 40 billion hours in a year going back and then to get fresh water for their families, for themselves also. In Horn of Africa, as you know, it's complex and a lot of political unrest. We found that there are 2 million girls and women in the child age, they don't have the clear water. And there is approximately 3,000 pregnant women face difficulties in accessing reproductive and mental health during the drought. In Ethiopia, for example, in Afar and the Oromo region, they have increased the risk of gender-based violence there because, as you know, when there is no political risk in some place, you do not have control over the land. So all the violation is available and real and exist. In the area of the child, lack of child in the west of Africa, we find that women and children and girls face the death. Do you imagine that the climate change and the drought reach them to this? Why this? Because there is a political unrest there. Armed group are occupying the place. They just kill the people there, even the challenge of drought. I think I could stop for the sad examples and go forward for some initiatives, and may I see happy faces in front of me. On the African level, the African Union has launched an action plan. It's called the African Union Climate Change and the Resilient Development Strategy and Action Plan. It's expected to extend more than 10 years, and we are still maybe in the second year. And I think that we are going in the right path, but we still wanted to do a lot. From the national perspective, as I'm from Egypt, I will show you some examples from Egypt and how Egypt tried to include women and girls in the climate change strategy. First of all, as you all know that Egypt last November hosted the COP27, which is the international platform for the climate change, and one of the thematic days of the COP27 was how we can engage women and girls in the resilient city and help them to go away from the climate affected area. And also we have we established the National Council for Climate Change. This council is led by the Prime Minister, and this council mainly helped to develop a strategy for engaging women in climate change negotiations. Also, we have the National Strategy for Women Empowerment. Of course, one of the pillars of this strategy is how we can save women from the climate change effect in the future. Last but not least, the Egyptian Council for Women in Egypt collaborate with the International Ministry of Cooperation in the American Agency, and how they can engage women and add their voices in the climate change actions. So I will go forward for the recommendation. I wanted to save more time for my speech to get questions and comments from the audience. Actually, we as an African civil society organization, we should have one network that will contain all the African women speak about, not just the climate change, but all the sustainable development, and how we can include women in this sustainable development strategy. In the light of the control of the sexual violence based on the climate change, we recommend that all African states should revise their national strategy, and they just look if they include women affected by climate change in their strategy or not. And of course, I'm sure, I do my research, that just 20% of the African countries put the sexual violence based on the climate change in their strategy, and this is horrible. Also, we encourage to have one regional initiative to encourage the mitigation, and Madam Ambassador said mitigation for the climate change will include women in this. Finally, as we all know that cooperation between the government, civil society organization, all these stakeholders is a key for this. So if I wanted to end my speech here, I will say advocacy, raising awareness, networking is a key. It's a key to have a better, if you want to have a better future for your girl and you as a woman, not be affected by climate change. And you guys, as a beautiful women activists from all over the Africa and from over the world, speak up, raise awareness, share experience in your network. It's never too late to make a change. Thank you.